especially when everyone starts to get those ultimates. They have a lot of combos going. You can see it in their team composition right there. It's time to head on to Summoners Rift for game number 1 here between BLG and WE. WE the favorite coming on in, but BLG, they've got a good record of winning game 1.
That's one thing that BLG definitely have. If there's a time for you to be hopeful as a BLG fan, it is right now.
And I'm excited to see it. Because here's the thing, right? We're kind of memeing on BLG a little bit, that they win game 1 and it doesn't look so hot for the rest of the series. But it does have to be said, the game 1 wins that they've had, a lot of them have been real clean, real nice wins.
And they're against strong teams. They've beaten FPX and E-Star. They have a 2-1 over RNG from the first week. So they put up strong performances against the top teams. It just doesn't work out for them in the whole series.
Yeah, I mean, they beat RNG 2-1. It was a 3-game series, but this time they were on the 2, which, you know, it's a rare feat for them, honestly, so far. But it's not what we expected in week number 1. They looked great in week 1, but it was against V5, it was against VG, so it does change things a little bit. Oh, sorry, not V5. They've not faced V5 just yet. But I do want to bring everyone's eyes over to the Varus, because we saw Varus twice in the first series of the day. It was Comet both times. This time, it is the lethal tempo. We're expecting the on-hit Varus to come through.
Going much more towards the scaling and late-game team fighting. I like it in this comp when you are going to have things like the Set and Jarvan jumping into you.
Hook for hook in the bottom lane, but you don't expect much at the level 1, really. Both these teams going to be trying to force level 2 early. Meteor moves down towards this bottom side. He is going to be warding in the Tri-Brush.
This is something we don't typically see from Meteor. When you are on blue side as Jarvan, you can always look for either a level 2 gank on bot or just go to invade the enemy jungle. This isn't something we almost ever see out of Meteor.
Yeah, and he is going to go for that invade, as you say, but because he was spotted in Triforce, looks like Beisheng is well aware. He's actually moving over as well. Missing, going to be hooked at the level 2 moment, though. That's going to be a route to follow up. Ignite's ticking. One more auto isn't quite there from the side of Jin Zhao.
This is great play coming out from BLG's bot lane, but we've already talked about this with WE. Teacherma's the kind of guy who's just going to leave his lane.
Yeah. It's going to force Meteor away. The blue buff resets, but here's the bottom lane as well. Jin Zhao here. Hook comes through from Missing. Instant cleanse. Teacherma. Good damage from the Flame Spitter. Should be enough to force BLG away, but I'm not sure if they're done just yet. Missing will get his death sentence up again shortly. And I think they've realized this is not the fight they want to take.
We talked about it. WE are very good at covering Beisheng in the jungle, but kind of taking 2 steps back to that bot lane 2v2. That was amazing coming out of BLG's bot lane. We don't expect that out of Jin Zhao and Shinmo, especially against WE's bot lane, who in their last series even got a 2v2 kill on Suning.
Now it's Beisheng's turn to look towards this bottom lane, but he will back away. But you're absolutely right. Getting the 2v2 kill versus Suning, a lot of power in this bottom lane. And it's exciting to see them already kind of going toe-to-toe. It's exciting to see the aggression in the 2v2 leading up to these invades.
Especially coming out of a player like Jin Zhao, who is the longest standing player on this roster. He's actually been with this roster since it was, even before it was IMA, before BLG brought it out, since it was Edward Esports, which is EDG's academy team, qualifying for the LPL. So he's been here a long time.
That's a long while ago at this point. Beisheng moving on towards, he's got his eye on this veteran player in the bottom lane. He's going to be able to clear away the Krugs. I think that they're not going to pull the trigger on this dive, though, in the end.
Doesn't look like they have the damage when you look at a Gragas, Varus, Thresh combo. We did see Teacherma hovering towards the bot side, setting up some vision, but they're not going to be able to build the wave. Beisheng is still waiting around, but I think he just needs to back.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, he really wants it, but it's not going to happen, I don't think.
We saw how this worked out in your series earlier.
Yes, we did. Many times, actually. V5 would not leave that play alone, and it just didn't seem to want to work for them. But luckily, Beisheng seeing better of the situation in the end and will head and commit to the recall. Up towards the top side, though, King actually going to find a stun onto Morgan. Nice trades coming out from him. The Haymaker to finish it off as well. Morgan just not able to trade back.
this is a winning matchup for the set, and we just expect this out of Kingen. He is one of our stronger laning players in the LPL, but I'm going to take a step back.
Kingen's in trouble. Flash away. Beishang gets the knock up, and this will be enough damage. What a flash from Morgan. Dodges the Haymaker and is rewarded with the first blood.
Kingen just pushing in too far. Meteor's not around covering him. He's going for the dragon, so just an overstep from Kingen. Great gank coming out from Beishang, great flash coming out from Morgan, but when that Haymaker was charging up, I thought he had it.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be a bit of a disaster for the side of WE, but Morgan, with the fast fingers, does get the flash through. Meteor on the other side, though, will answer with a dragon, so nothing gone unpunished from the side of BLG.
BLG feeling fine in that exchange. We did talk about how this team typically feels fine just playing it slow and scaling up. You do have the Corki in the mid lane right now. Is going to work his way towards that Triforce, and having an early dragon towards Soul Point just feels good.
Yeah, it really does, and especially the Cloud Drake. It's one of those ones that you feel good having as your first Drake, because especially with ultimates like the Bullet Time, like the Depth Charge, even the Cataclysm as well, really, really impactful. It means that you can skirmish that a little bit more often.
Good point. Also, you typically don't want that as your soul, right? You'd much rather have an Ocean Soul or an Infernal Soul.
Ooh, the Dredge line does pull him sort of out. Shinmo going to be the target in this 2v2. Is missing going in. Zhaomeng will finish the kill, and the exhaust onto Jin Zhao. Death Sentence will be up again shortly. Jin Zhao needs to be careful how much he commits to this one. 2v2 kills coming down in the bottom lane. Both junglers are around.
This is why WE have been such an exciting team, and we really highlighted Missing. We saw them do this exact same thing against Suning last week. Huanfeng and Sword Art being one of our stronger bot lanes, now doing it once again to BLG's. WE just finding consistent advantages.
Yeah, and this isn't off the back of a play from someone else either. We were talking about Teachermal roaming down, Beishang camping, Morgan TPing, everything towards the bottom lane. They don't necessarily need it. When they find the opportunity, they are willing to pull the trigger.
And these are not two players you would associate with being strong laners. Zhaomeng only joined this roster in summer of last split and wasn't the one playing. It was Mystic. Missing's been here for a long time now, but he's never been a player you've put in that top tier of supports like Ming, like Crisp, you know, along those names. So it's really exciting that they're finally showing up this split when WE really needs it.
Yeah, it's hype to see this kind of play coming out. And Thresh, you know, he's not been the optimum support pick for a couple of seasons. We've seen other picks kind of take over that mantle. But it feels like in the LPL, we have quite a few Thresh players that are coming on it.
We have so many. Missings looked great. Xiaoxi's obviously the big one. Sword Art looks good. We just have so many premier Thresh players here in the LPL.
And it's such a great champion to see played well, because it's one of those champions that it's kind of similar to Lee Sin, right? Where the skill ceiling is just so damn high on that champion that when you see the best versus just a normal good Thresh, the difference is night and day.
It's night. I'd even say even the skill floor is pretty high too. So you typically don't see a player pull it out unless they're like pretty proficient at it.
Especially at a professional level. But WE now, with that 2v2 in the bottom lane, did mean that they got a little bit of tempo. And as you mentioned before, they are all about abusing tempo advantages.
This is what we know WE for, but we should be looking out for a fight right now.
There we go. Hook goes through Bullet. Time to deter the rest of the engagement. Meteor has fallen already. Morgan wants to get to the back line, but he's denied. Teachermal gets one with the equalizer. Kingen goes in with a showstopper. I don't know if you wanted to commit to this fight, my friend. He's going to go down. Morgan gets yet another kill.
I don't know what BLG are doing here. We've seen this from BLG many times where they're just not on the same page with what they want to do. One person will go in and get picked off, followed by another. But I was going to say, heading into that team fight, the two players to watch in all of these fights, Missing and Teachermal. We saw Teachermal have great equalizers the other day. I don't need to keep talking about Missing in Hook City because he's showing it to you himself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just excited that Morgan gets his Aatrox finally. He's off of on duty and he is showing up in these fights. Missing, what a hook coming out there.
Great hook from Missing, and Morgan just really being the beneficiary of BLG walking in one by one.
And then the showstopper. I mean, I don't know why Kingen commits. I guess he thought he wasn't going to get out anyway. Nearly did get the kill onto Missing, so fair play to him. But ultimately, it's all going in the favor of WE. And look at the gold lead that they already have for themselves. 2,500.
This is why WE is knocking on the door of those top teams, why they're sitting at 5th. Again, tied with top esports right now, not something you would have expected coming into the split, because in recent weeks they've looked so decisive and so good at snowballing these early game leads.
They really have. And, you know, when you think of WE, you do think of these skirmishes. You think of these brawls in the early and mid game. And so far, BLG kind of playing into their hands, because ultimately, the Herald was already gone when that fight started. But they're just close enough that Missing can make the play and start the fight that WE were looking for right from the start.
It was great play from WE, but just also a huge misstep by BLG. They've looked this whole split pretty much like the shot calling element just isn't there.
Oh, the blind hook. Cleanse is available. Well, that was nice.
I don't know what Missing's doing. I don't know, like he's so good.
He's using the practice tool. That's what he's doing. This guy's a grinder, you can tell. But I want to kind of visit the strategy here for BLG, because you mentioned it right at the start. They're looking to scale up, but this is a team that doesn't lose game ones, Jordan. What's the plan here? Because it's not feeling good so far.
So what BLG want to do for the rest of this game, slow it down. Don't engage into any fights where the objective is already gone and you don't need to. The name of the game is trade. If WE overload one side of the map, back up, slow it down, say, okay, you can have that turret. We're going to go take a turret on the top side of the map. Bring this game to 35, 40 minutes like we know you for.
So, looking for the trades, looking to avoid, you could say that they're social distancing in this game, is that you're going to just try and avoid WE at all costs. We'll see if they can find these late game advantages, because right now when you look at that gold chart, the early game advantage is very heavily in favor of WE.
Gold in favor of WE, the composition power spikes in favor of WE, especially with those ultimates coming out, the equalizer, the chains of corruption. You have so much kill pressure on the side of WE at this point in the game.
Now, WE want to snowball that even further as the Herald comes up in the top lane. It will be a little bit early. I feel like they could have waited until they cleared a couple more plates. But the Bulwark in play, this actually might be hard to finish off.
That is the standard play, right? Take a few plates, get that Bulwark going, use the true damage from the Rift Herald to finish off the turret, but doesn't matter. BLG are not in position on the map to answer any play. We did see Meteor was just farming Krugs.
Jin Zhao, you've overcommitted, my friend. There's the flash play. Chains of Corruption doesn't land, but I mean, where's he going to go? Jin Zhao's on the wrong side of the map. He's surrounded by minions, and he'll be taken down by Jomung in the end. I mean, that is just sheer overextension.
It's sheer overextension, but also just a failure of BLG as a whole. Again, what is their communication? What is their shot calling? What are Meteor and Shinmo looking to do on the map right now to where Jin Zhao is taking turret plates alone?
That is absolutely the question on my lips as well. And Missing, he's going to be sticking to Jomung like glue so far this game. He's not roaming off separately. He's making sure that this Varus is perfectly safe and that he's snowballing throughout these fights.
This is what we know Missing for, too. Even though he's really good on these playmaking champions like the Thresh, like the Nautilus, like the Blitzcrank, we don't typically see him leave Jomung's side. He finds these picks, like we saw earlier, in the 2v2, when you're posturing around mid lane, before the objective skirmish. So he's finding them at very key times.
That's my kind of support right there. Hysterics, on the other hand, I don't know, man. He loves to roam.
I'm going to say, as a mid laner, I love Hysterics as a support, so nice drop, Hysterics.
I just get abandoned in the bottom lane. But you can see Morgan, speaking of the bottom lane, has swapped over to that side of the map now. It's Teachama that's moved up towards the top side, and we've got Jomung now in the mid lane. So a little bit of a switcheroo from WE.
Good.
WE.
WE. Nice job from WE putting their core strength in the mid lane, which is going to make it easy for them to attack both sides of the map, give them a lot of flexibility. We do see the Rift Herald coming up soon, so just leave Aatrox spot to clear those waves, have Teacherma push out the top wave, and start setting up for this Rift Herald.
See Teacherma, when we look towards the items, heading on towards that Morellonomicon first. And well, I mean, that tells a story in of itself, right? A lot of gold up towards the top side of the map for Morgan and Beishang from those turret plates. But it's more the difference, right, in the turret plates going the way of WE. In the meantime, they're actually just going to charge on into the mid lane. The package having to be used defensively, not ideal for the side of BLG.
WE, instead of going for that Rift Herald, seeing that Jin Zhao and Shinmo are bot side, say, hey, we could just send all 5 members mid and take this turret for free. What can BLG do? BLG are opting into just continuously trading like we talked about. They really don't have too many options at this point in the game with their comp.
Yeah, and ultimately, I think as BLG you take that trade, right? Because you can't contest in the mid lane. Even with 5 members, it's still a difficult fight for you unless they actually go for a dive. And so you're like, do you know what? Tier 1 for tier 1, we're just going to make that trade. Gets us a little bit of gold, keeps us going towards the late game.
That's right, and it really just stems from what we saw earlier in the game of when they made that mistake around Herald. They set themselves in such a bad position, they pretty much just need to accept whatever WE decides to do.
Well, it's 30 seconds until the Infernal Drake, and you mentioned the Soul earlier on. It will be an Infernal Soul for this game, and I would expect WE to be the ones with priority onto that objective. So it'll be up in 20. Vision control right now, though, very much in favor of BLG.
BLG having vision control on the bot side since WE did just stack all of the members on top side. That will serve them well going into this dragon fight, but WE still are just stronger right now, and if 5 of them just walk over, there still isn't much BLG can do.
Yeah, I think WE basically saying, look, we don't have to rush to this dragon. We don't have to be there the second it spawns, because if you go over there, we're just going to kill you.
Yeah, and this really, there's a stark contrast in LPL where we have teams like IG and RNG that even if they're behind, they're going to run and fight you for everything. Yeah. BLG is not that team. They're complete opposite end of the spectrum. If they fall behind, even when they're ahead, they're going to do everything they can to just take the objective far away from you, try and use their tempo and play their own game.
Very much the case. And when you look at the side of Jeomung right now, is Morgan going to be able to get the Herald down in the bottom side? Jeomung actually going for a relatively defensive build here, going Ninja Tabi second on the likes of this Varus. Knows that there's a lot of damage that can come from Kingen, from Meteor, and from Jin Zhao. All of it AD damage. He's going to keep himself safe. Look at this rotation, though, from WE.
Good rotation coming in from WE. We've talked about this. They're so good at using their priorities, using their pushing lanes, getting that tempo advantage. And Jin Zhao's pretty brave.
Yeah, equalizer, and there's nowhere to run. Jin Zhao, for the second time this game, just in the middle of nowhere by himself.
Jin Zhao just BLG as a whole continuously going where they shouldn't be. Kingen right there doing it again.
Literally proving your point as you say it. Kingen forced the flash.
I don't know how to shake my head in disbelief any more than I'm doing now.
How do you shake your head through a microphone? That's the question.
Yeah.
SMHing my head.
And there we go. Again, whatever this Chinese says, the OP player of the game, in my opinion, too. Missing, coming out really strong. Again, never a player we've talked about much from WE, the long-standing veteran. I can't stress that enough, really bringing this team together.
And it's a rough scoreboard to look at right now because there's not a single kill for BLG so far. They're about 5,000 and maybe and a half going gold down now. They're 3 towers down. They're a Drake down. I'm struggling to find advantages to talk about for BLG.
There really isn't any. But we should, one thing we can note with BLG right now is when you are on a losing streak like this, again, they have not gotten a win since we've coming back from break. It's not just about how good you are as players, right? It's how it could mentally snowball into just not believing in your teammates, not believing you can win.
A great example of that is players like Kingen, right? Kingen in the top lane, when we look towards the first couple of series that these guys played, and recently as well, he has had some really great highlight games. When he's looking good, he looks incredible. But we also have this other half of Kingen, like we're seeing here, this game where he just can't seem to have an impact. He's practically invisible.
I mean, he had a negative impact in that one Rift Herald fight, and
true.
Expanding on that point too, we saw in the first week Meteor playing so well around mid lane, playing with bot lane a bit, but as the games go on, we see less and less teamwork coming from this team. WE still just using their tempo advantage, continuously roaming around the map. Yep. They can force any objective they want. Looks like they are just going to back off, maybe wait for that Baron to come up. They can just start and force a fight at any time.
Going to go for that one as well. Hook onto Fofo. Does have the package to get away for himself. But, I mean, there's no real answer from BLG. WE going to group up once again. Equalizer available if they really want to force the issue. But it's only Equalizer and World Ender, so not too many ults from WE. I'm not sure that they need the ults, though. They might just try and force the play. Hang on. TP comes on through. Jomung moves over to his team. He's going to be showstoppered. Equalizer goes down to try and stop the follow-up, and it will do exactly that. Kingen drops, missing flashes to safety. It's 1-for-1, though, as Morgan falls.
That
Now,
flank.
Hang on, we're not done just yet. Jomung once more. Beishang moving in. Fofo has to flash to safety. Meteor does get himself out with the flag and drag, but the arrow goes through. 2 more for Jomung.
Beishang and Teacherma playing so aggressive at the end of that exchange, but it started out looking pretty well for BLG. We were confused. What is Kingen doing? You're too far behind. You can't win this fight. But it set Jinzhao up for such a good bullet time.
Yeah.
Started out as a 1-for-1, but Beishang going back in with that body slam, Teacherma flashing in with him, and WE expanding their lead.
I love seeing the confidence in this fight. And just talk me through, because there were some great ults.
We already saw Kingen jump in, gave a lot of space for Jinzhao to get off his bullet time here. We thought the teams were going to disengage here. They're both posturing like they still want to fight, but you don't have ultimates on either side. Beishang just says, screw it, goes in with his E. Teacherma, we already said this, always follows Beishang into a fight, gets in there with the Flame Spitter, gets another 2 kills.
And look where all of the gold is for WE. 5-0-3. Jomung on this Varus. With the on-hit build as well. Actually going rapid fire cannon second here. Not actually that standard.
He's going more towards that build that's a lot more defensive, saying, hey, I'm going to survive if you don't kill me. We win these fights regardless. You typically see these survival builds come out when a team is so far ahead, you don't necessarily need to keep ramping up the damage.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. They do not need to ramp up the damage right now. There's very little answer from the side of BLG. As long as he can live, they're good. And so
they're ramping up the damage to dragons.
Yeah, why not? Let's just get a bunch of Infernal Drakes instead. That's going to be the 3rd Drake of the game. They're now on Soul Point at 21 minutes. They're 9 kills up on the scoreboard. And just in confidence as well. The way that they're posturing, the way that they're playing around the map, it feels like they completely own the space.
They've been doing so well at just controlling and using their pushing waves to bait BLG into them. We see Missing hitting almost every hook in the team, following him confidently into these plays. And if you're WE and you get a win here today, your next series is against LGD. You feel extremely confident going against LGD.
Oh yeah, LGD. I mean, LGD got a win earlier today. The 2-0 v5, but
the end of that sentence.
Yeah, I don't know how confident of a win it really is when it comes down to the scoreboard. Explosive cask onto Meteor. No follow-up from either side, though. It's just going to be a disengage from the side of Beishang. And that, we like this, right? WE, they've got Morgan in the bottom lane. They don't need to be aggressive. Just disengage the fight. We got pressure elsewhere.
Great play coming from WE, using their pressure and multiple points on the map. They also have TP advantage on Morgan. Oh, Fofo does have TP, though, so he will be able to answer himself, but still being able to pull Corki towards the bot side. They can look to force his TP right now by forcing this Baron play, and
look at the minimap. Morgan is actually making his way over. This is a commitment to the Baron from the side of WE. They know how strong they are right now. Answer not coming just yet. Meteor dodges the hook. It was all a bait after all.
I would love to see WE be more decisive around this Baron play. We do see a lot of our top teams be decisive around these forces to say, hey, full-on commit to the Baron, bring in the enemy team, and then look for the engage. I'm positive WE right now can win if BLG walks into them. I want to see that same confidence out of WE themselves.
They certainly have the strength. And in 3 minutes, if there's no contest from BLG, they will have even more of that strength with an Infernal Soul if they needed any more damage. Fofo now just going to be able to clear away this bottom side of the map as we've seen a complete reset here from the side of WE. They know they've got the gold advantage, but it doesn't mean anything if they don't go and buy some items for themselves. And you can see this Varus build is shaping up to be a little different to the usual on-hit build that we see. Those are the makings of an Infinity Edge.
Does look like he's going towards the IE, just will give him more straight-up DPS, hitting harder with those auto attacks. Not as much taking advantage from the magic damage on your W passive, but still, he's going to hit like a truck in these. I mean, we're pretty much already at late-game team fights, so late-game team fights.
At least WE are at late game. It's still the mid-game for BLG, though, unfortunately for them. So it's definitely a rough situation, but now onto the Baron once again.
We want to see WE commit to this Baron. The two things to look out for is the equalizer coming out from Teacherma, and we do have Beishong off to the side. Does always have a body slam to engage.
We'll see if Beishong can find that body slam. Morgan pops the world ender. They want to fight. This was all a bait, and they're straight onto Meteor. He's obliterated. Showstopper in the backside. Beishong is alone. Gets himself a stopwatch off. Can Kingen finish the kill? I don't think so. He flashes away. Slow is there. Jomong will finish the kill. The equalizer is the cherry on top. And the bait works beautifully.
Confident play coming out from WE is what we said we wanted to see 2 minutes ago. They did this again against Suning a few days ago, where we saw in our B-roll missing set. Just force him to come into you. You have the damage. You're so far ahead. You know you win. Don't be scared. WE aren't scared.
They certainly aren't. They get the Baron, and Shinmo and Jin Zhao want a 2v5. I don't know why, but they're going for this play. Now onto Shinmo. He'll drop, trying to trade it, but Beishong gets away. Package through Fofo. I mean, it's a bold play. You got to give him that. Jin Zhao now might just get one onto Morgan, but the arrow comes on through. Teleport. We're seeing signs of life from BLG. I like what I'm seeing here. Still a 2-for-1.
2-for-1. BLG do get Baron off of one member, but my expert analysis in this situation is don't jump into a 3v5 against members who have a 1-2 item advantage onto you.
You know that it's not looking great when the best looking moment of the game for you is when you traded 2 deaths for a singular kill. It's just... what else do you say on that kind of situation? Fofo used everything just to get a singular kill there.
I don't know. There's nothing to say. This is where you press F and you just go next.
I mean, F is Flash. So I don't know what pressing F is going to do for them at this point in the game.
Well, Flash is on D,
Whoa.
sir.
D for Delash? I don't think so, buddy. Here we go. Inferno Drake going to start up. And I don't know. The Baron fight hasn't convinced me that BLG can do much about this one, but they're going to make an attempt. Meteor can maybe get a steal. Beishong looking for Kingen. Showstopper into the fight. And actually, they've got a pick to start things off. It's going to be 1-for-1 jungler. For mid laner, though, bullet time's pretty big, but so is Jomong. Double kill for him already. Fofo gets a couple. In comes missing, though, and there's a death sentence. Fofo will be shut down. Another one for Jomong. And they will just commit to the dragon. Beishong's still here, so the smite is there. Infernal Soul. Best looking fight yet for BLG. The later this goes on, the more it does feel like they're fighting back.
We are at a 3-item Corki right now, so he's really strong, you know, getting those crits, lots of damage on his Q, on his ultimate, but it looks like in that last fight, WE didn't completely expect BLG to jump in, which is why Teacherma didn't even use the equalizer in that fight. They did burst him down surprisingly quickly, but we still see WE just have too much damage.
Take another look at that fight. Meteor goes in.
Meteor goes in a bit too early. Kingen also coming in on the backside, just doing really well. Jin Zhao getting off a complete bullet time. So BLG hit almost everything. BLG did hit everything. Yeah. And WE haven't hit much yet, but they still have the damage on the end of this fight. We just see how far ahead Jomong is, and they have the Infernal Soul.
Look at Jomong's scoreline right now. 10-0-5. This is literally every AD carry's dream scoreline. He's so fed.
Going towards another BF sword item, just continuously stacking on that damage.
Yeah. Why not? Why not? Who's going to stop you, really? Just go for the Bloodthirster.
I just have a feeling that this game won't last that long, but we have seen WE start to take it slow and, you know, play a bit more methodical.
Yeah, but with Baron up in 3 minutes, with Elder in 4.5. I don't know how much slower they can take this one. They are running out of time. This is a ticking clock. WE. They're the ones that are leading the charge right now. Morgan going to be able to move towards the bottom side once again and put some pressure down as the rest of WE look to finish off tier 2s.
WE just once again using all 3 lanes of pressure. Push bot, walk to mid, push mid, walk to top. Just pulling BLG all around the map and constantly being a few seconds ahead on the play.
They will grab this tower for themselves. 2,000 gold advantage from the Baron buff. And that's because most of the Baron buff was actually around the dragon fight, realistically.
But we do see Dragon Soul last the whole game, so that is much more important than using your Baron-empowered minion to find structures. Now you're going to constantly be able to come out ahead in these team fights if you are able to actually land your abilities this time.
And when you consider, you know, that graphic comes up and it's about the gold difference that Baron buff made. When you get a Dragon Soul, it's not visible in terms of the gold difference, but the damage that you get, if you actually convert the value of that, it's way more significant than a couple of kills.
Way more. We're talking about 3 Infernal Drakes and an Infernal Soul. You are... I can't even describe the amount of damage you do. Like,
especially with Equalizer.
Yeah.
You just lay it across everybody and get those procs.
You have so much AoE on the side of WE from Varus, from Gragas, from Rumble. It's just so easy to apply.
Yeah, really easy for them to set this one up. And when we take another look at the gold, 7,500 in favor of WE. They are feeling very strong. They're feeling very comfortable. The only task ahead of them now is cracking into the base. And you can see that's a little bit of an issue for them with this composition for right now. They are going to have to wait for this Baron before they can really commit to inhibitors.
BLG do have a lot of wave clear on their side between the Corki and the Misfortune, so like you said, it will be pretty easy for them to keep trying to stall out the game, but they can't avoid fighting WE forever. We will see Baron come up soon. Elder Drake is up in 2.5 minutes. We're going to get to the point where WE can just start looking to dive these inhibitor turrets if they do pick that up.
Yeah, we were talking about Jomung's build a minute ago, how he had an extra BF sword, and I was saying, hey, maybe go for a Bloodthirster. No. You thought he was hard to kill before. Now he's got a GA on top of everything else. This guy is very tanky, even more armor. I might just find Fofo. Beisheng moving down. Fofo has the package though, so he's going to be safe.
Fofo will be safe, and right now we are just trading waves back and forth, but we do see pings coming out onto that Baron. And as we get to this point with the Infernal Soul, it's like we talked about with that Equalizer. Despite Jomung being the one who's a big damage dealer right now, if Teacher Mach can land a huge Equalizer, it's just over.
Meteor needs to be careful. Baron down to 2,000 and he's smited away. Meteor actually flashes into the pit, but he's too late. They will find one kill onto the likes of Missing. Can they turn it into more is the question. Equalizer forces a lot of people out. Jin Zhao is so low in the back of the fight. But you know what? If you're WE, you don't mind losing a sport if you're going to get a Baron off the back of it.
I'd say both teams feel pretty happy with how that went. If you're WE, you got a Baron that you should get being this far ahead. If you're BLG, you got a pick that you probably shouldn't have been able to find, which means you're buying more time, letting Fofo get more items. So now it's just going to be all about this big Elder Drake coming up in a minute.
We'll see if the damage will be there for the side of BLG. And as you mentioned, a lot of this falls onto the shoulders of Fofo. When you look at this Corki, he's got the Triforce, he's got a whole bunch of crit with a bonus BF sword in there. But he won't have his flash available for this fight.
True, he won't have his flash available, but he does still have that Valkyrie for safety. And if Kingen can get a good ultimate onto like Jomung or Teacher Ma, BLG might just have the damage to win a fight at this point if Jin Zhao can get another, full cast bullet time, which we've seen him get 2 or 3 times now.
They have a record of winning game once. Jomung pulled out safety. Teacher Ma gets the flash, and Meteor is obliterated. Kingen goes into the back line, but he's totally alone. In the meantime, Beisheng buys time with the Zhonyas, and now Jinmo is going to be the only man that has to try and walk away. The knockup means the Infernal Chains pulls him back, and it's another double kill for Jomung. World Ender as Morgan wants more. Fofo gets the Equalizer on out, though. And with that said, another fight in the books for WE, and I'm not sure there's much defending this push.
Another fight in the books for WE where BLG just runs in one man at a time and just gifts it to him.
Good effort from Jin Zhao there to try and get a bullet time to deter things, and actually, it seems like WE, they're going to respect the damage that's available from BLG, and they say, do you know what? We're not going to try and force the end, because we can just go to the Elder Dragon instead.
Just making the safer play, but BLG are coming off their death timers and should be able to get here in time to contest. We see Kingen just coming up. He does have TP. The downside for BLG, you don't have Showstopper, you don't have Cataclysm, you don't have Bullet Time. Those are your 3 big team fighting ultimates. Without those, I don't really see any hope of actually pulling off an upset team fight.
I would have loved to see BLG just try and rush the Elder there. They have a lot of damage from the Corki, from Jin Zhao as well. Maybe that was their opportunity to find a huge objective.
We do see Meteor just flag and drag in and then get the Cataclysm. He's not tanky at all, very easy to pick off. We talked about how we'd really want Kingen to start these fights with the Showstopper onto a priority target. When you do engage like this, it just gives WE so much room to work with and really take you down one by one consistently.
Now on towards this Elder Dragon. If you want a chance to win this game, BLG, this is it. This is the moment.
But Jomung is full build now, and Rumble just picked up the death cap. So you have so much consistent damage coming out from the side of WE.
We've got to have a perfect fight. Fofo has so much on his shoulders on this Corki. Elder Dragon low. They're not going to commit to it. They want the fight. Missing. Going to be showstoppered back into the fight with Kingen. Just has no health to work with. Shinmo now going to be the front line, but he's not tanky enough. Morgan gets away. Has his GA to keep himself safe. 3 members remaining for BLG. Lantern to pull him to safety. The reset from WE.
WE once again looking to force this fight. We do have consistent damage coming out from Jomung's build, meaning they can look for this.
Fofo has a lot of poke, and Meteor is here with his smite available. Morgan looking for a flank. Missing is low. The Lantern Shield will keep him alive for now. Morgan forced away. That could mean that they pull the trigger on this Dragon. This would be game now with Elder, surely. It's all but done. Jin Zhao. Here we go. Teleport comes out. That's going to be Fofo escaping. Meteor barely walks away with his life. Jin Zhao trying to escape in the bottom side as well, but Bei Shang, he's got the Predator and he's going to find Meteor. The smite to finish off the enemy jungler. There's a bonus kill for Jomung. And WE, a very strong game number 1. And honestly, not a moment where BLG felt like they had a grip on this game.
WE were in control the whole time. They were just so far ahead. Had this been more even, we could have seen a front-to-back teamfight working out for BLG, but they were just too far behind. They got melted instantly from Jomung's build, from Teacher Ma's damage, even from Morgan, who's extremely far ahead, and going to close out this game pretty cleanly.
I feel bad for... I feel bad for Fofo in this game when you look at the scoreboard. 4-1-1, the rest of the team not looking so hot. Here we go, final fight as they move in on towards these Nexus towers. Shinmo not going to find himself the hook. The Aftershock will keep him alive for just a moment, but Bei Shang going to finish the kill off. Elder buff is still in play, so these health bars will not last, and the shield cannot save you, my friend. Teacher Ma going to be chasing Fofo away. No minions here, though. This is a slow, drawn-out win for WE.
Especially because, okay, it is finally getting to 37 minutes.
Nice hook from missing there onto Jin Zhao. But this is going to be game in the end. Meteor goes in. He's finished off. 2 more go the way of Jomung. And it's going to be 5-28 to finish things off. They want to make it 29, though.
No.
They're going to get the kill. There's another one for Morgan. And what a way to find a win for WE.